I'm Gabby.
And I'm Maddy.
And you're listening to the Jukebox Honeys podcast, where we talk about all things 60s, 70s, and 80s music related.
Follow us at the Jukebox Honeys on all social media platforms and add us on Spotify to hear our weekly episodes. Let's just get started with that. Oh my god.
They did so much drugs.
Yeah.
So many drugs. Queen, iconic band. Rock and roll is definitely the best. The best.
Out of everything, like at least they play instruments. That's what I like.
Friggin' love ABBA!
Yeah.
Mamma Mia!
Here we go again.
Stevie Nicks
is the most iconic, and I love her relationship with Harry Styles.
And I love that she's a witch and everyone accepts it and thinks it's cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's just completely different. She's never cared. Landslide will always be my favorite. Hi everyone. We took a week break, but here we are, back again.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Literally, university costs too much money for what's happening right now.
Every November, they always leave these assignments till the last 2 weeks. And my friend's now experiencing it. It was her first year in university. And she's like, Maddy.
Can we say her name?
I don't know if she would want to.
Shout out, you know who we're talking about.
Yeah, you know who we're talking
Hello,
about.
girl.
But it's her first time, and she's just like, Maddy, does all university teachers leave it to the last minute? I was like, yep, they always leave it to the last minute. We do nothing all of October barely, maybe like 2 or 3 assignments. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we have like 10 or 12.
Yeah, and it's even worse now being online. Everything is just like, it feels like I haven't learned anything, but at the same time I'm expected to like do 12 different assignments, so it's been pretty stressful, not gonna lie. We're literally, I'm gonna say this, I don't care. We're filming it the day that we're posting it. Yeah. So, you can tell how stressed we are. It's just a lot. So we apologize for not posting last week, but at the end of the semester, we have a month off. So that's basically like 4 weeks of straight content that we will be putting out. Hopefully, like, life doesn't get too crazy. Worst case, we do it on Zoom, so.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it will be that crazy over the break, but definitely with what's going on in Ontario as well. We have a lot of COVID restrictions and stuff, so.
Yeah, not a fun time, but we're not going to be talking about that much longer because this episode is all about groupies.
Yes.
Groupies of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and let me just say, these girls were wild. They were living life. They were living large. They were having the time of their lives, and I kind of wish we could go back to that time and just, like,
the tea that would be spilt, though. Would I want to be a groupie, though? I don't know. Like, yes, legendary, like, fun nights, but then afterwards, like, some pregnancies that they don't even know the baby daddy.
Yeah, see, I'd be a groupie, but with protection.
Yeah, but in the 60s, they didn't really use that.
Yeah, but if I'm a time traveler, I can go back, and I know about it, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I could do that. Yeah, I'm saying that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think I could actually do it. But it's like, it would be cool.
It would be a cool experience to live in, but I don't think I could do that. I don't know.
I'd want to be a groupie, but without all the bad stuff.
Yeah,
that comes
without
along
the
with being a groupie.
Overdosing. And
all that. I'd like to just follow around bands, like go on tours with them, because that's what they did. Basically, they were part of the group. They would travel with them everywhere. They would go on stage sometimes. Like one of the girls we're going to be talking about, she actually went on stage with a couple of bands, and she said we got to like live the experience with them. So me being into music and stuff, and you being into like drama and acting, imagine being on a stage in front of like 100,000 people. That'd be amazing.
I know, it would definitely be interesting. Like you see that nowadays we have what are called fangirls, but they're nothing comparison to groupies. Like actually partying and living with them and even following them on the tour buses and continuing to have sexual advantages with them. But you see that now. Like
you do, but not at the
extent.
Not at the extent of what it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which I wonder why there was a shift. Like go from like groupies were fashion icons, things that girls wanted to like become, to now where it's like fangirls are cringy. You know what I mean? Like I wonder what like the shift was. We don't have any information about that, but we do have information about the women who trailblazed the way for groupies and even became like stars in their own right. Mm-hmm. So that was our little introduction. Again, we're really sorry about missing last week. We're stressed out of our minds. If you can like
bear with us.
Yes. See, I can't even formulate words. That's how stressed out I am. But we just want to say thank you for sticking with us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you're not caught up on the other episodes, go back and watch those first. Come back and sit down, relax, and have fun.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Alrighty, so our first groupie
is Bebel Buell. And Buell was one of the most famous groupies in her time in the United States.
Before she continues, we're sorry if we mispronounce any names in this. We don't mean to be rude. We just, we're not good at pronunciation.
And we're making a podcast that's perfect. So she was one of the most famous groupies in her time, as I said. She was discovered by Jimi Hendrix just walking on the street with her friend.
Which, Jimmy, he's known for making some groupies.
Mm-hmm, making some groupies famous there. So she was casually walking, and she got catcalled by Jimmy, of course.
Not cool, Jimmy.
Not cool, Jimmy.
Not nice.
Not nice. No, not nice, Jimmy. So he catcalled her and then invited her to his show. And she attended the show. She got kind of close with Jimmy. I don't know if they hooked up or not, but that kind of put her into that world of groupies. You just need that one kind of connection. And you're in.
Yeah.
So she went on to hang out with David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Steven Tyler. So Buell then got pregnant with the lead singer, Steven Tyler, but this was unknown for years that Steven was actually the father. Mm. So at the time, she was actually dating Todd Rundgren. He's also a musician, and they were kind of on and off again, like constantly, like for the past couple of years. And she didn't know that Steven was actually the dad. She thought it was Todd at the time. Ooh. But then when her baby was conceived, and her name was Liv, at the time it was Liv Rundgren, but then later found out that after 11 years after she met Steven Tyler, she realized, I'm really close to him. I look like him. I have similarities to him. Like, something's sus here. And she knew her mom was a groupie in the past. But she confronted her mom, and her mom said, he is the dad. She knew. Like, she knew in her heart that he was the dad.
Oh, but she didn't, like actually know. She just felt in her heart.
But she felt in her heart that it was, the mom actually felt in her heart, that it was him. So, her mother finally admitted to her, and at first, Liv was completely and utterly mad about this. Like, obviously, right? You'd be freaking pissed that your mother kind of hid that secret that she kind of knew, and it had an inkling that he was the dad. So that entire life, like, that's 11 years of her life without her real dad. So then she even was quoted kind of saying that she wasn't mad, but like in later years that she kind of felt bad for her mom. She said she had two men that really didn't want her. And it was kind of a tough situation. Neither Steven Tyler, or Todd even wanted to do anything with her at that time, right?
That's so sad.
So she did the best with what she could, she says. So Steven took a paternity test, which wasn't released until 91, revealing that he was the true father of Liv.
You are the father.
You are the father. Yeah, exactly. So then Liv switched her names to Tyler. Instead.
And we all know her, Liv Tyler, now.
Yeah, so. The iconic queen herself, actress.
Was she in Lord of the Rings?
I think so, yeah.
She was. She's that one, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think she's Liv Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think she was in another, a famous one about the record shop. I forgot what it was called.
Oh. I was thinking, was she in that movie about the asteroid? Where Aerosmith literally wrote a song about it?
I don't know.
Do you know that song, though? That I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the song you're talking about, just not the movie, yeah.
Yeah, well, the song was written for the movie. I think she was in it. Again, don't quote us on that. That was a little tangent, but yeah. She changed her name to Liv Tyler, and then she went on to become a famous actress. So exactly. She didn't do too bad in life.
No, definitely not.
All right, so the next groupie we're going to be talking about is Sable Starr. with 2 R's. Get it right. And she was known as Queen of the Baby Groupies. And basically, baby groupies were exactly what you think they are. They're basically kids.
Yeah.
Who would run away from their parents and go be with these rock stars. And it's pretty uncomfortable researching this. But she started her sexual experiences at the very young age of 12.
I think that's maybe, though, because, you know how we're talking about groupies and stuff? A lot of them are very, very young, you know? And I think with fangirls now, it's not really accepted in society as much as it was not talked about and discussed back then. So now, like, a lot of people, like, if that happens now, it's all over social media, it's all over news networks. This has happened. Like, it definitely wasn't probably condoned back then, but it was kind of loosely allowed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And she actually lost her virginity at age 12 to the Spirits Randy, California. Mm-hmm. And a couple of years later, she began hanging around Whiskey A Go-Go at the age of 14. And Whiskey A Go-Go was a part of the Hollywood Sunset Strip. And they had a bunch of clubs, and, like, basically you were in if you were able to go to the Hollywood Sunset Strip clubs.
Yeah, I feel like that was with, like, Hollywood had theirs, like, the Strip, like, obviously, and then New York had their famous, like,
Studio
area.
54.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. She was one of the first baby groupies to be let into the Sunset clubs. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. Sunset Strip clubs. But not strip clubs, but strip clubs. And she became a style icon to those in the rock and roll scene. And while she didn't feel pretty until she got a nose job at age 15, her blonde curly hair and her boldness made her very appealing. And when she was around 15, she met the New York Dolls' Johnny Thunder. Mm-hmm. And they instantly connected, and they began a very illegal relationship when she was 15 and he was 18. She would run away with Johnny Thunder, but her mother actually reported her missing, which actually got some of the band's inner circle arrested for kidnapping.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She ran away to be with him, and she thought she loved him.
Of course.
All that stuff.
Manipulation of kids.
So Thunder became involved with drugs and in turn became a lot more violent towards Star. And then she learned she was pregnant with his baby.
We love babies.
We love babies, not in this situation. So when Thunder found out that she was pregnant, he proposed to her. I guess like the stand-up thing to do.
Oh gosh.
Would be to propose to her. But she actually rejected his proposal and she had a procedure done, which made her no longer pregnant. And, she rejected his proposal.
Well, I guess, like, she felt that was the right thing to do for her, then 100% do it,
yeah. She said that he made her feel terribly self-conscious about herself, and it took away her confidence. So, normally she'd be a really confident girl and didn't really care what anyone thought about her, but he, like, got into her head and made her feel really low. Yeah, it's the manipulation of kids. Like, these kids don't know who they are. They don't know their identities yet. And these rock stars, like, typically kind of are manipulating them. Oh, yeah, 100%. It's rumored that she also had sex with every major star of the 70s. Rumors that started with her dating Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. And her actually coming out and saying that her favorite rendezvous was with Jimmy Page.
Yeah, Jimmy Page is known for some more. We'll get into that.
She became the it girl of the baby groupies, knowing where all the good parties were. So anytime a band was in town, like in LA, they would go to her and be like, okay, where's the party? And she'd be like,
I know.
I got you.
I got you. Come with me.
And Star was one of Iggy Pop's very first groupies. She actually like went to like a club and saw him performing, and he actually wrote the song Look Away and dedicated it to her in the 90s. One of the lyrics actually say, it's not funny, it's actually very bad. I slept with Sable when she was 13. Her parents were too rich to do anything. She rocked her way around LA until a New York doll carried her away.
And this was allowed.
Like, literally, he admits to committing a crime.
That is disturbing in so many levels.
Like, I can't even, like, when I was 13, I was like a baby.
I was pubescent, like
pre-pubescent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he basically admitted to that.
Jesus.
One of her best friends was another baby groupie named Lori Maddox, which we'll talk about later, right?
Lori Maddox, yeah.
And they even shared a bed with David Bowie. The two of them. They're that good of friends, eh?
We love that.
And apparently Debbie Harry and Sable Starr were very close friends. And one of the groupies that did not like Starr was Bianca Jagger.
Yeah.
Why did I'm Spanish, so I wanted to go Jagger. It's Jagger, which was the wife of Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
The women did not like each other because Sable tried to sleep with Mick Jagger many, many times. She died at the age of 51, though, due to a brain tumor. But her impact in the groupie scene, as well as the fashion scene in the 70s, will live on forever. She was, like, the icon of that time.
Definitely. So, Kathy Smith is our next groupie. So she was the band titled The Band's famous groupie. So the band's name was The Bands. Yeah.
That's a great original name.
It's such an original name there. So she was like their kind of famous groupie because she would sleep with all of them, basically. Not every single member, but majority of the members she would sleep with. So since she was actually 16 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we love the young stuff. I feel like every single one we're talking about is like under the age of 18.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So she became like very sexual with all the members and stuff, and she actually got pregnant during this time, not knowing which member was the baby daddy. No, still doesn't know to this day. Yeah. Which one? So then they kind of titled her The Band's Baby. The baby that was born. That's what they named her.
Oh my god.
The Band's Baby. Yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my
god. So they kind of were all her dad. Yeah, it's still not known. And after her group days were kind of like over, she became very addicted to heroin and other drugs.
That's sad.
It's really sad, right? In 82, she hung out with comedian John Belushi, who was a hit star on SNL.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams was there as well. And they hung out for a drug-filled night.
That's normal.
We love that in the 60s and 70s. No, actually, this was the 80s.
Well, 60s, 70s,
yeah, 80s. Yeah, it was all drugs and... But anyway, so Smith gave Belushi 11 speedballs, which even made Robin Williams shudder. Like, he was so comfortable, like, with all that. He kind of, like, dipped,
Bounced.
you know, you're not wanting to get involved in that. Yeah, so Smith found Belushi the next morning dead due to the speedball she had given him.
Oh.
So as a result, it showed in the autopsy that it was as a result of the drugs. So she actually spent a year in prison as a result of that.
Oh, wow.
I know. Very crazy that it escalated that much. So she became known as the woman who killed the comedian instead of the famous groupie she once was.
Damn, that's...
Yeah, it does suck because Belushi was such a star at the time. His career was going like up and up and up and up. Yeah. And then he died, and now she's just known for the killing him, basically.
Yeah, well...
Not killing him, but like giving the drugs that killed him.
Yeah, I mean, he has to... There's some responsibility put on him, but she gave him... He still had his choice in the end to take it, but just sucks that she's known for that instead of other stuff.
Yeah, just having the band's baby.
Yeah. So next up is Pamela DeBarge, and when she was younger, she dreamed about Elvis and the Beatles, and like many young fangirls, even dreamed about dating and eventually marrying Paul McCartney. Yeah, just like a normal fangirl.
Reminds me of my grade 3 teacher. She still talks about him, like, to this day.
Paul McCartney?
Yeah. Oh. She just said, the only time you raise your hand is if you have a question for an assignment, if you have to go to the washroom, or if Paul McCartney walks into the door. Yeah.
Wow. She entered the groupie scene when a friend of hers put her in contact with Frank Zappa, who was really famous at the time. He was like Jimi Hendrix. He also kind of brought a lot of groupies, not fangirls, into the scene. And through a bunch of his friends, she was able to meet Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. This then led her to the famous Sunset Strip where all groupies go to party. And after she was finished her schooling, she took any job that would allow her to be close to the strip. So it didn't matter if it was bartending.
Oh my goodness.
Just anything she wanted to work as close as she could to the strip. Mm. So then she would go on to work for Frank Zappa for his children as their nanny. Mm-hmm. Kind of a weird job for a groupie to take. But in her book that she wrote later in life, she claimed to have slept with the following. And she's very proud of it, so go you. Mick Jagger, Jimmy Page, Keith Moon, Nick St. Nicholas, Noel Redding, Jim Morrison, Chris Hillman, Graham Parsons, Waylon Jennings, and actors Brandon DeWilde, Michael Richards, Woody Allen, and Don Johnson.
That's pretty iconic.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Not gonna lie. Look at that list right there.
That list is pretty
famous.
Pretty awesome. She later formed the band GTO, which was a band completely made up of groupies. But they would only go on to put out one album, which was named Permanent Damage, after other members of the band were arrested for drug charges. Yeah. But that's kind of creative, like making a band just out of groupies. That's one way of taking the fame and running with it. Mm-hmm. She tried to pursue a career in acting and even starred in some soap operas, but it never really took off. In 1977, she married Michael DeBars, who was a member of the band Silverhead, and they have a son together named Nicholas. But they eventually divorced in 1991. She's written 2 memoirs about her time as a groupie called I'm With the Band, which was released in 1987, and Another Little Piece of My Heart, A Groupie Grows Up, in 1993. It's rumored that the Cameron Crowe film, which Almost Famous.
Yeah, the Cameron. That was the Almost Famous. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I love that movie.
I haven't seen it, but it's rumored that Penny Lane is based off of DeBars. In 1989, she was in Playboy, which was a dream of hers that she had when she was a young girl. And in 2013, she created a clothing line called Groupie Couture, and now she writes for various publications all over the world and gives advice and stuff.
That's cool.
So she's still going. She still has her career. So Pamela, if you want to jump on and come be on our podcast, we would love to hear your story.
That would be great, honestly.
Oh my God.
That'd be so eventful.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So Pamela, hit us up.
Okay, so the next well-known groupie that we have, we talked about a little bit. We said that she shared David Bowie one night. Mm-hmm. So it's Lori Maddox, and she was a very, very well-known groupie. So she actually lost her virginity to David Bowie when she was 14 years old.
Oh my God. It's so gross.
It is so cringy that this was freaking allowed, but whatever. There's nothing you can do about now.
Yep.
So she was then invited by Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin's guitarist, to his hotel one night. Ooh. And Page actually really wanted a serious relationship with this 14-year-old girl.
That just shows his maturity. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think his brain fully developed.
No, I think he was like almost like double her age at the time.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
So, anyways, he even went on to tell her that he was in love with her, and she believed him because she's
14.
She's a child. She's a freshman. She barely got boobies. So yeah. So Paige even called her mother to ask permission if he could date her daughter, and her mother said yes, in awe that her daughter would date the lead guitarist of Led Zeppelin, who was famous at the time.
Great mother.
We love that. She thought that would make her daughter legendary. So,
I mean, it kind of did, but
yeah.
Are you willing to sacrifice your daughter's well-being for her to be legendary?
Yeah, exactly. So Paige was almost arrested after this love affair happened because the rumors start swirling. He's dating a high school freshman, like. He's dating a literal freshman in high school. And the FBI got wind of this, kind of, and began an investigation, and they were going to charge him for statutory rape.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But they somehow managed to avoid this kind of relationship, like getting kind of caught, I guess, until she reached of age.
Until she turned 18.
Yeah. So Maddox still states to this day that was the greatest love of her life, saying that she didn't feel underage. what does that mean? You don't feel underage. Like, you feel like you're a woman? Like, how do you you're underage. You're not, there's no, like, I'm more mature than anybody else in my class.
Yeah, like, sorry, like, when I go to school and I raise my hand to go to the bathroom and stuff, and, like, the teacher is in charge of me for an hour, yeah, I'm the most mature. Like, bro, you're a full-grown adult. Like, that's gross.
I know.
So, how does she feel ugh?
I know. I don't understand that. I still don't. So, yet, many people within the public's view still view this as rape.
Yeah.
Like, it was, technically.
Legally.
Everything.
Next is Bianca Jagger. So, she was born in 1945 in Managua, Nicaragua, to a well-off family. In 1969, she lived in Paris for a few years before that, and she began her modeling career, which would give her some fame. Then, at the age of 26, she met the love of her life, Mick Jagger, and she said it was love at first sight, and it almost felt like a bolt of lightning hit when they met. Mm-hmm. So, instantly, that connection. And after a couple months of dating, Mick asked Bianca to marry him, and the couple would walk down the aisle not even 24 hours later. It's a very quick, fast-paced relationship. They were married on May 12th, 1971 in France, and once fans and the paparazzi heard about the wedding, they flocked to the church and created a massive scene. So, it's crazy for your wedding. That only, was planned 24 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
Anyway, her wedding outfit was very fashion-forward for the time. She wore a suit jacket from YSL, a matching white skirt, and a wide-brimmed hat with a thin veil attached to it, which was obviously not common at the time. The 70s was, puffy sleeves and big, puffy dress, and she just looked like a boss-ass bitch. Like, if you see her outfit, it's pretty iconic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No woman was wearing, suit jackets, at that time at all.
She's actually known for, the double-breasted suit jacket. That was her fashion statement. At the time they got married, she was already 4 months pregnant, so later in 1971, the couple had their first and only child together named Jade Jagger. Kind of a cool name. In 1972, she would go back to Nicaragua in order to help her country after it suffered a devastating earthquake. The next year, it was revealed that both Mick and Bianca were having affairs, and Bianca was rumored to have an affair with Ryan O'Neal, and Mick obviously had an affair with many, many groupies. Mm-hmm. Maybe Star, we'll never know. Like Star, Bianca was known for her many bold and daring looks, and she would become a major style icon of the 70s. And like the Sunset Strip, except in New York, she and Mick were known to frequent Studio 54, where she was known to balance 2 doves in her hands while dancing on the floor.
How would you even possibly do that? Wouldn't it be, fluttering and stuff?
I don't know. She had a talent, I guess. In 1978, she filed for divorce from Mick after learning about a long-time affair that he had with model Jerry Hall. And Bianca would be the only wife that Mick would ever have. After her divorce, she began working as an actress and was even in the Rudolph's All You Need Is Cash and the movies American Success and Flesh Color. In 1979, she returned to her home country of Nicaragua to be a part of a radical group called Sandinista National Liberation Front in order to oust the leader at the time, Anastasio Soames de Baile. That's probably very wrong, but I tried. In 81, she visited a refugee camp in Honduras, which would then be invaded by a group of terrorists. And she, with the help of other U.S. congressional leaders, made a deal which saved actually a lot of them from being killed. And she actually says at that point in her life, it was a big switch, and that's when she wanted to become an activist.
That's pretty iconic, though.
Yeah.
She switched her whole life around, being a groupie, being that, and then going to be an activist,
Yeah. So in 93, she dated a New Jersey congressman named Robert Turselli, and the two bonded over obtaining a visa in order for a young boy to receive a cardiac surgery. And the two had similar political beliefs, and they bonded over more serious things, whereas when she was married to Mick, they bonded over, music and kind of superficial things, while with Turselli, she bonded over the serious things. She said, we didn't have time to talk about fun stuff. Our relationship was a matter of life and death.
I don't think I would do that. Their relationship.
Oh, I thought you said I was doing something wrong.
Oh, no. I mean, I wouldn't Like, I would want the fun stuff too, though. Like, you know, yes, seriousness and everything is great, but sometimes you just need those laughs. You need those, like, kind of entertaining relationships as well. Yeah,
I agree. You need a mix of both. In 2003, she became a council member of Europe Goodwill Ambassadorship. In 2005, she created the Bianca Jagger Human Rights Foundation, which gave a voice to the voiceless, as says in their, like, little tagline. In 2012, she began to focus more on environmentalism as an issue, and then gave a speech at the UN on her disagreement with Brexit, and she was the only, Latina to do so. In 2020, she's currently serving as a trustee on the Amazon Charitable Trust, is on the Leadership Council of Amnesty International, and continues her work with her foundation. And her fashion sense still impacts women all over the world, and every year she attends Paris Fashion Week.
Of course.
So she just, she's living her life.
To the fullest.
Oh, yeah.
So, Cleo Odzer was a super groupie, and she got this name, I will get in this a little bit, but she got this iconic name. And at just 14 years old, Odzer had a fake ID, and she was sneaking into famous New York nightclubs to hook up with, like, notorious rock stars. Like, she had a whole list of them. Like, all these girls had a whole list.
Oh yeah, they had a little black book, and I don't know why 14 just seems to be the age that rock stars love. It's just so nasty.
I know, it's 14 years old. It's ridiculous. Like, you're just graduating grade 8.
Oh,
grade 8.
When you put it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So she hooked up with an abundance of different bands, including the Rolling Stone members, Cream, and Deep Purple. She even states to this day that every 2 weeks there was a new band, and every 2 weeks I had a new boyfriend.
Damn, girl.
She was just snatching up all the mans.
You get those mans.
She gets them, obviously. So when she started dating, she actually started dating Keith Emerson, and they fell in love, and it wasn't just like the groupie scene. Like, they actually truly loved each other, and Emerson later proposed to her. So during this time when they were kind of like fiancés and stuff, and they were getting ready for the wedding, the New York Times wrote an article that identified Odzer as the super groupie. Well, Emerson had no idea of her past. Like, literally had none of an idea. Like, that she was, like, this notorious and this famous groupie. He didn't think, like, he knew that she, like, partied and stuff, but not in the music scene. Yeah. She never knew that he was a part of, like, this kind of groupie scene and lifestyle. So he called off the wedding because of it.
Damn, that's harsh, bro.
Yeah, she said that she lied about her past and stuff, and that's not what I'm going to accept, right? So
that's very hypocritical. I bet he did, like, the same, if not worse. And he just dumped her.
So in response to this, Odzer had the best response. She then said that she was going to become the most famous groupie ever, and to get in spite of him.
Good for you, girl.
So she began sleeping with more stars than she ever had before, and even compiling a list to keep track of them all.
Damn, good for you. Yeah. You get your revenge. Yeah. You get those men. Men are still, never mind, not gonna.
The men are trash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next is Anita Pallenberg, and she was born in Rome, Italy in 1942. And while she was in high school, she would act up and eventually would be expelled, which propelled her to start her modeling career in Paris. She eventually would move to New York like many other groupies, and she began hanging out around Andy Warhol. She studied medicine, graphic design, and I don't know what picture restoration is, but she studied that too, but she never stuck with them long enough to actually finish a degree. She appeared in many movies like Candy and Barbarella and The Performance. In 1966, she began hanging around with the Rolling Stones and very quickly moved in with Brian Jones.
It's funny, the Rolling Stones are very notorious.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And Jimmy Page.
Yeah. The two began spending a lot of time together and even dressing alike and having the same hair color and cut. Yeah, it was quoted that Anita and Brian loved to blow people's minds in the book, The True Adventures of the Rolling Stones. And in the fall of 1966, Keith Richards moved in with Anita and Brian. And Keith noticed that Anita and Brian didn't really fit well together. Anita was bold and daring and confident, and Brian was very shy and self-conscious. He didn't understand how they were actually a couple. Once Brian became more abusive towards Anita, she left him for Keith on a trip they all took to Morocco.
Oh, wow.
It was like during the vacation, he was constantly high and drunk, and he was beating her and all this stuff.
Oh, my God.
So Keith kind of pulled her away, and they actually got together. Yeah. She became a part of the band's kind of legend when she starred in the movie The Performance, in which she plays a love interest to Mick Jagger, which we should actually watch that movie.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah, and we should do like a little movie review.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That would be cool.
We watch Almost Famous, too.
Oh my gosh. We just had an idea in the middle of a podcast. So during her time working on the movie set, she didn't really have to fake any chemistry with Mick Jagger. And they actually had a lot of sex scenes where, like, it was very uncomfortable for everyone else in the room because they just were, like, really into it. And this made Keith Richards very stressed out because he was like, oh, I'm going to lose my girl to Mick Jagger. And during that time, he wrote the song Give Me Shelter. Throughout the 70s, Keith and Anita were hardly sober, and together they did a lot of crazy things. While flying up to Toronto, in 1977, Anita brought 28 bags of luggage, which caught the attention of customs. This caused her to be busted for bringing large amounts of drugs into Canada, and the bust almost ended the band. The couple would have 3 children together, and kind of like really sadly, one of their kids died of SIDS when he was just a little baby.
So sad. Oh my goodness.
So they had 2 surviving children. In 1981, the couple broke up, but Keith always said that he would love her forever. And after the breakup, Anita quit drugs, but still remained loyal to Mick and Keith and never had anything bad to say about them. She loved them forever. It was alleged that she had an affair with Mick, but she had always denied it. Keith Richards, even like in his memoir, he claimed that it was true, but Anita would never admitted to it.
Oh, really?
So no one really knows. And
he said, she said.
Exactly. But she was a major influence on the band's music. She influenced a ton of albums, and she almost tore the band apart. But
yikes. But didn't.
Good for her. Next, Maddy is going to talk about
Connie Hamzy. So she was a legendary groupie, and she actually gave President Clinton, his first scandal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He is also a very troubled man.
Yeah,
Mr.
very
Bill Clinton.
Scandalous man.
Scandalous.
So she was put into the groupie kind of scene with the Grand Funk Railroad. They even wrote like a song about her. Saying, we're an American band, last night in Little Rock, put me in a haze, sweet, sweet Connie doing her act. So, kind of referring to her and her kind of legendary groupie vibe. So, after her groupie days were completely over, this is when she had her biggest scandals of her entire lifetime.
Damn.
So, in 91, she stated that the President Clinton, who was married at the time, proposed to have sex with her. So asked her to have sex with him.
Well, Mr. Clinton.
Yeah. So nobody believed her, really. Everybody's like, not Clinton. Not this gentleman of a man. Not this guy. He even stated saying nothing happened. What actually happened was Hamzy ran through, lifted her top up, saying, what do you think of these? Referring to her breasts. Although this kind of didn't match like her story. But then, more scandals came out about Clinton, like obviously all the notorious ones.
Monica Lewinsky.
Exactly. So people started thinking, maybe Hamzy was telling the truth.
And he did have sexual relations with that woman. So, basically, he's probably a liar and she was telling the truth.
Exactly.
So our last kind of profile on a groupie is Nancy Spungen, and this one's actually kind of sad, and we kind of mentioned her in our episode about drugs, so if anything pops up that's familiar to that, that's the reason why. But Nancy Laura Spungen was born in 1958 in Philadelphia, and when she was born, she almost died. After the doctors saw that the cord was wrapped around her neck, her umbilical cord, which also happened to me.
Oh, yeah. It's very scary because it's very common, more common than people think that, like, happens.
Yeah. As a child, she was very temperamental, and, like, even as, like, a 3-year-old, she had to be prescribed medicine in order to keep her calm.
Oh, my gosh. Did she have ADHD or something?
We get into that. When she was a little bit older, she threatened to kill her babysitter with a pair of scissors and beat up a psychiatrist who claimed that she was acting up for attention.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. When she was 15, her parents sent her away for school, but she ended up running away and tried to commit suicide. And after this, she would be diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, though, because, like, she obviously was very troubled at the time, right? And going through various issues. And that psychiatrist saying that she's just acting out for attention obviously isn't doing his job correctly.
No, obviously not. And in that time, like, mental health wasn't really a thing. Like, they would, like, do lobotomies on you and think, oh, you're cured. And they always, like, thought that women... They would diagnose a lot of women with hysteria. So that's probably why he was like, oh, you're just acting up for attention. And she was like, no, there's something wrong with me. Yeah. Which I'd probably beat up a psychiatrist too.
I know, if you said that to me.
At the age of 17, she went to live in New York like many other groupies did. And she began working as a stripper and a prostitute. I mean, girl, get your coin. Do whatever you need to do.
Get your money.
She started to follow many bands like Aerosmith, Bad Company, the New York Dolls, and the Ramones in order to see if she could become a groupie. After trying for a while, she gave up and moved to London, where it was said that she was trying to get together with Jerry Nolan of the Heartbreakers, but she met the Sex Pistols and Sid Vicious instead.
Oh, poor girl.
Yeah. Not long after meeting, the two moved in together and would be a couple for 19 months. The relationship was very toxic, and both of them turned to drugs in order to deal with their issues. The media unfairly called her nauseating Nancy because she was known to have public outbursts and fight with Sid in public. Yeah. Again, like, blaming the woman for the guy's problems. After the Pistols broke up in 1978, the couple moved to New York City and lived in room 100 of the Hotel Chelsea. The drug use led to domestic violence, and it was said to result in Sprugeon's death. She was found unresponsive in their bathroom in 1978, and it was said she died from a single stab wound. The knife that was allegedly used as the murder weapon belonged to Vicious, and not long after, he was soon arrested for her murder. He pleaded not guilty to the charge of second-degree murder and was soon released on bail, but only 4 months after his death, Sid Vicious would die of a heroin overdose before any sort of trial had begun. There are many theories that Vicious did not kill Sprugeon and that it was two drug dealers who had visited them on that night, or robbery that turned very ugly, but unfortunately we'll never know the real truth because it died with Nancy and Sid. Yeah,
I think it was, though, like, honestly, if I'm getting my opinion in here after we did the research of Sid Vicious as well, like, saying, he did say, like, I just want my Nancy back, remember? And he tried to commit suicide and jumped out of the hospital. But honestly, the temperament that he had, and especially with other band members and audience members, he literally bashed somebody against the head with a guitar, remember that? Yeah. And he's just a very violent guy, so I could honestly see this happening.
Yeah, and it was probably in, like, I'm not trying to defend him in any way, but he was high all the time. He was never in his right state of mind, so I could see how that would happen, unfortunately. I know. So to end on a more funny note, I guess, after talking about poor Nancy, we have an honorable mention of Cynthia Albritton, who is more famously known as the Plaster Caster.
Yeah. She's the funniest queen I've ever met in my whole life.
Oh, yeah. If we could also meet her, that would be amazing. If we could interview Cynthia. Oh, my God. I would die.
I would literally pee my pants. It's just that funny.
So, Maddy, do we want to, like, split this and talk a little bit about it? Okay, I'll go first. She earned her nickname when her art professor gave her an assignment to make a plaster of anything. Like, there's a clip of her talking about it, and she said, my art teacher said you could almost make a plaster cast out of anything. So I went home and I started to think about it, and I thought real hard about it, and then suddenly the idea popped into my head. So,
something hard he definitely got. So,
I can't believe we're talking about this.
So, she went and attended a Jimi Hendrix concert, and she actually got Jimi Hendrix to plaster his something hard, quote unquote.
His
phallic.
You know what we mean.
Yes, exactly.
You know what we mean. She plaster casted. I was going to say his third leg, but I probably shouldn't say
his baseball bat.
There we go.
So Kiss then even went on to write a song about her because she did not just do Hendrix.
No, she did everyone who she admired. She said it was always about the music. Mm-hmm. It was about the music first, and that's what her and Pamela DeBarres kind of agreed with. That it was always about the music first. A true groupie loved the band and loved the music.
Yeah.
So she kind of did these plaster casts as a way to like honor the musicians that she really admired and wanted to immortalize with the plaster cast of
of them, their special parts.
Yeah, and we watched, it's a VH1 little clip, but throughout her whole apartment she has very interesting decorations. She has memorabilia, that's the word I was looking for. And then she has a room with like these certain plaster casts of like people, and they're on like pedestals.
Yeah.
They're like, she's like, oh, this is Jimi Hendrix. This is so-and-so. Oh, this person, halfway through, it didn't really work out, so that's why it's that way. And
yeah.
She's more recently, I guess, in more recent years, she's even done boobs. So, yeah, those are all around her apartment. And she's one cool lady.
I mean, she definitely is. And even, like I said, Kiss wrote a song about her titled Plaster Caster. That's just so unique, right?
And you gotta, no pun intended, gotta have balls to do that.
Yeah.
To go up to a freaking famous rock star and be like, can I plaster cast you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for you, Cynthia. If you want to be on the show, you
yeah.
know, we would also love to have you talk about your experiences.
It would be iconic, that's for sure.
You are an iconic queen, Cynthia.
It'd be huge. So, we're just going to wrap it up there. The puns are just coming out of me. I'm gasping for air. That's
not gonna be it.
Okay.
So we're gonna end this.
Yes.
Sorry, we just had a really good laugh there. So we're gonna end this episode. We would like to thank you for listening, and like we said at the very beginning of the episode, we're sorry there's no video. Mm-hmm. Because I just, like, the camera died halfway through, and we didn't want to just wait another week to post
this is the only time we could kind of meet up and do this, because we have so much homework and work to do this weekend, so we wanted to get it out as quick as possible, and sorry it's a week late, but we're girls, and we take a long time.
That's not why, but, like, we just have a lot of crap.
We're dramatic queens, no. We actually do have a lot of work.
It's very ridiculous, but we would like to say thank you all for listening. Sorry for all the difficulties. Thank you for bearing with us, and
next week we don't really know our topic yet, but do we know our topic?
We know, it's on the calendar.
Oh yeah, we forgot we wrote it all out.
Yeah, so next week is going to be the British invasion.
Oh, yes, we did decide on this. Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. They have their own kind of unique stories and how compared to America, and then America
yeah, of course. Like, it's you'll see next week. We have some pretty amazing stories up our sleeves. So, obviously, if you want to hear about next week's topic, you better follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok.
Yeah.
Did I get all of them?
I think, that's it.
Finally, getting all of them.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for sticking around. We're just very thankful.
Yes.
That we have some people that are listening to this. And yeah, that's all for today. So we'll talk to you next week. Stay rad, stay groovy, and